Let's see here. This is a good one. You say, the thing is, I think he's right.
Yep, I do.
I win. Monocacy Audio LLC presents The Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the origin of political, philosophical, and spiritual positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word essay and then gets interviewed. The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed. It is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore and understand the American experience. All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are not necessarily the opinion of the podcast nor Monocacy Audio LLC. They are also not intended to malign anyone or any organization. It is our hope that personal growth is the result, as well as a greater appreciation for new, unique, and differing points of view. Join us on this journey to ascend to a higher state of consciousness.
Hot Water by Julius Knapp. The summer of 2016. The summer of 2016 was hot. I know because I was outside baking in Green Ridge State Forest on a camping trip with 3 other idiot friends, including the one I would eventually start a podcast with. I had been camping with this group several times before, in fact. Fortunately, we had all learned enough lessons to know that a camp shower would be valuable in this situation. One by one, we each cleaned off the summer sweat and grime that had accumulated throughout the day. The camp shower was a small pop-up shelter, just barely large enough for a single person. Hooked onto the top lip of the shelter was a small shower head connected by a hose to a small pump. The pump sat in a 5-gallon reservoir of heated water. Yes, despite the summer heat, we still enjoyed the simple pleasures of a warm-to-hot shower. The water took some time, maybe 15 minutes, to heat over a single propane stove. With a limited supply of hot water, showers would have to be kept short. Through the first 3 people, only 1.5 to 2 gallons of water had been used. Now, my daily showers are typically only 5-ish minutes long. I use 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner and then body wash. Quick and efficient. On the day in question, however, somehow, I managed to use almost the entire remainder of the reservoir. I can only assume that a leak in the line had manifested somewhere, or that a fitting had come loose over the 3 previous uses. Regardless, the event has become the subject of repeated ribbing over the years. I do my best to roll my eyes, grin, and bear it, but I'll admit it's difficult that I know the truth. Some mechanical failure was leaking the water as I was using it. Please, William, may I have some more? This event has been on my mind recently, and before I get into it, I promise, dear reader, that I will bring this back around. In-home hot water heaters are a relatively recent addition to modern homes. Consulting Copilot and the relevant sources suggest that installation and use of residential hot water heaters occurred primarily throughout the 1940s and 1950s, following World War II. Despite invention of the primary components almost a half-century earlier, the infrastructure, public water, utilities, indoor plumbing, gas utility supply, etc., was not readily available in a residential setting until that period. This is to say nothing of the cost, which was prohibitive for many people. Early in-home water heaters were expensive to purchase and expensive to maintain. They were inefficient and broke often. Our modern convenience has truly come a long way. It's doubtful that we would even recognize some of those initial models. Nonetheless, the initial users were chastised. Water usage exploded during this time. It might come as no surprise to some, but cheap and readily available hot water, once a luxury, eventually became seen as a necessity. The economic efficiency of hot water production actually increased water usage. Despite being able to produce hot water with far fewer resources, meaning fewer resources would be needed per capita, overall water usage increased on net. The observation of this relationship has occurred often enough that it even has a name in economics: Jevons paradox. William Stanley Jevons first described this relationship after he observed that, despite the burning of coal becoming more efficient and individuals needing less coal to accomplish the same tasks, consumption of coal increased as adoption within the community could spread more easily. Just as with individuals finding more ways to use coal, families with in-home water heaters could now take daily showers, automatic dishwashers could become a thing, and laundry could take far less time to complete. Fast forward to today. Residential hot water heaters continue to become more efficient, and adoption continues to expand. Heck, hot water heaters have become so common that it's possible to take a hot shower in the woods far from any plumbing or utilities. It's so common that what would have been a tragedy a century ago, the exhaustion of the entire hot water reserve, can now be the subject of some light teasing. But we are certainly in a new phase. We'll call it late-stage Jevons. Hot water usage, while it continues to increase, has nearly leveled off. Just like the towel after my shower this morning, as a society, our hot water adoption has been basically saturated. Hot water heaters are installed in every new home. It would be exceptionally odd to purchase a new home or even to find an old home where one wasn't previously installed. Aye, AI. What was once a luxury for the wealthy, and then a gluttony for early adopters, is now the norm. There are many parallels to our present adoption of AI. What many forget is that AI, at least our modern understanding of it with neural networks and backpropagated learning, has been around since at least the 1980s. Modern speech recognition and computer vision with techniques that almost every computer science undergrad would recognize was first researched around that same time. Well-funded universities and research labs have had access to this technology for a long time. Gradually and inexorably, the technology became cheaper and easier to implement, and new uses were discovered. Eventually, one use was developed that nearly anyone could use. It required nearly nil initial understanding to get started, but was incredibly powerful with even a little training. Perhaps surprisingly, the use that was developed wasn't substantively new. It was just a new way for humans to do something that we have been doing for millennia: chat. ChatGPT was just a new implementation on a language model, GPT-3. OpenAI had developed internally and trained for many years. It had been trained on a huge set of diverse information. More specifically, ChatGPT had been trained on more conversational information, and it gradually learned how to respond given a particular kind of input, a chat prompt. With that, users like you, Brian, and me could open a chat and start a conversation, interacting with the language model in a way that felt natural and familiar. And with that, using AI language models had become vastly more efficient. And just as Jevons predicts, and like the residential water heaters of the past, AI adoption exploded. It was adopted across a huge array of tasks and industries. Business owners, like myself, could draft marketing copy without any previous marketing knowledge or experience. Entrepreneurs could create websites without any previous coding experience. Casual artists, authors, playwrights, and any number of other creatives could explore their art in ways they couldn't before. Indeed, I would argue that more art has been produced within the last 2 years than had been produced in the 2 decades prior to the release of ChatGPT. Moving forward by walking backwards. Of course, AI does have its detractors, and it has been the subject of many arguments between Brian and me. Brian believes that AI will ultimately lead to a societal collapse. Jobs will be lost, natural resources will be exhausted, and human social relationships will be replaced by artificial ones. The thing is, I think he's right. Jobs will be lost. Natural resources will be exhausted. and real human relationships will be replaced by artificial ones. Where we disagree seems to be the scale and severity. Ask a plumber if they would suddenly have more work if residential hot water heaters were to suddenly vanish. Ask someone in the depths of their depression, anxiety, or guilt if they would happily give up the opportunity to talk about their mental health with a bot that doesn't judge or abruptly end the session when the time is up. But I can almost hear Brian's retort now. How about let's ask a Boilermaker? I won't hold my breath waiting for you to find one. Have you heard some of the advice these AI psychiatrists have given? It's sycophantic at best, arouses vanity somewhere in the middle, and incites narcissism at worst. Also, you said nothing about the rampant depletion of our natural resources to cool the data centers that feed this technology. To that, I would say, jobs won't be lost. People will adapt, as they did before. We need better models, not fewer, and one specifically tailored to mental health or whatever application. And the technology will improve. It will become more efficient and will use fewer resources. It will have to, because it's not going away. For better or for worse, the genie is out of the bottle, and the monkey's paw has been mummified. But that's not what this is really about. We're talking past each other, implicitly agreeing with every disagreement. It's both fascinating and exhausting, and I challenge you, dear reader, to listen. Don't speak, just listen, to two people arguing sometime. You can see it in Congress, on almost every talk show, and just about every time you see two people arguing about politics or religion. Reviewing the previous argument, one can see every statement is a refinement or definition of terms, and never a full rebuttal. Any good improv performer should notice the familiar yes and pattern. This pattern takes some time to recognize consistently. Indeed, it's taken most of my adult life to learn the signs. It's as though we're both moving forward, but one of us is walking backwards. So the question becomes, how do we break the pattern? Of course, despite what my wife, mother, and Brian would say, I'm always right. But in these circumstances, they are too. I agree with every point Brian makes, and despite here I calling it a disagreement, our goal is still the same. We want people to lead healthy and happy lives, gainfully employed or otherwise. We want our rivers, forests, and air to be clean, abundant, and full of life. We don't have to agree on the effects of AI to agree that there are problems with AI. Whether there's a leak in the line or not, the water is still gone.
Ding, ding, my friend.
All right, let's do this. We both enter the arena.
You both enter the arena.
Come at me, bro.
Dude, you made this one kind of personal. This is like this is the closest we've really come to a debate.
Yeah.
As opposed to, just expressing views.
Yeah,
but I mean, but to a certain extent, to a large extent, majority of the extent, I feel that's exactly what you are. You're just like kind of naming me in it. So I really wasn't offended that much.
Right.
And besides, we're friends, so I can take a little ribbing.
Right.
But
as can I. As I
am so
I have
Yes. Yes. So
yeah, I'll just say, like, this is also an interesting setup, because typically we do one essay at a time, followed by one interview at a time.
Right.
But we've both read each other's essays. We've both prepared questions already, and now we're doing the interviews.
Yes. So this is basically a double, like, I don't want to call it a series because it's not three, but it's a back-to-back on AI.
Right.
But like my essay, which will be next week.
Or 2 weeks from
the next episode 2 weeks from now, will be looking at AI being the fruit of being overstimulated, which is the title, play on STEM and overstimulated, being the fruit of that, and how by forgetting everything else, we've kind of lost the ethics, we've kind of lost the moral base, we've kind of lost the art and the importance of those things in culture and who we are as society.
Yeah.
But that's 2 weeks from now. Yours is coming at the more in the present and the here and now.
And I'll also just kind of to add to that, while I think we do maybe disagree a little bit.
Yeah.
At some level anyway. And I assume your questions are the same as mine. For anyone wishing to do a similar format on the show, my questions are not to debate or criticize, or I want to understand your position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing also to keep in mind in these discussions is AI is so new. When we're asking questions, we aren't necessarily asking questions with answers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these things, we literally don't know the answers to. We may still have positions on what the answers will wind up being.
Right. Right.
And a lot of that comes from our background and from how we were raised and all that.
Yeah.
But not necessarily on data.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, in the end right now, the question of AI is kind of like a moral one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a philosophical one.
Yes.
And a blind man trying to cross a street type one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
You're going on vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vibes and what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
So your essay.
Yep.
Hot water.
Hot water.
Deals with.
I'm in it now.
Yeah. You used, hot water as a metaphor for where we're going with AI.
Yeah.
For the most part. And you bring up us camping.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The famous trip.
Yes.
Where we ran out of hot water. Yeah.
Yes. So I took a picture then.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And like right after that incident. Actually, sorry, right before the incident.
Okay. Of how much hot water had been used.
And, I don't think you've seen this picture yet.
I don't know that I have.
So
I'm like really worried now.
But yeah,
sweating.
So my friend.
Oh, boy.
Here is.
Oh my God. Man, I wish I looked that good with my shirt off. Honestly,
yeah, you got pecs, man. You're developing a six-pack there.
I'm developing it, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. This is excellent. I love this.
So, you got.
I'm definitely showing this to my wife later.
Totally,
she's gonna love the
100%.
shower cap. Yeah.
Yeah. So, everybody listening on the podcast side, you have to come to the website. You absolutely have to come to the website to see this.
Yes.
Since you use that as a metaphor for ChatGPT, I put in a prompt of Julius's headshot and asked ChatGPT to create a cartoon version of this man shirtless, leaving a tent, wearing a shower cap and a long back scrubber.
This is excellent.
And there we go.
What does the sign say? Clean and...
Oh, I don't know. Clean mind, strong body, better adventures.
Oh my God. This is perfect.
I didn't even see that before.
I'm crying.
Same here.
Oh my God.
But that's what I was laughing about when you were in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't blame you. Oh my God.
So obviously I can't use this at the end. Nothing's going to top this. So there's definitely going to be a joke at the end.
Yes.
But oh my God, yes. This is like so awesome. Gave you just the right amount of chest hair and happy trail too.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's very realistic. It's incredible how well it it captured my figure. Wow.
This could be the means to like reconcile with.
Right. You know what's interesting though? Like a lot of people say I look very similar to my younger brother Brian.
Yeah.
And now I almost want to like post this on my Facebook and tag him in it and tell everyone it's him. Oh man, this is great.
Anyway, how can I do the interview after this?
Right, I know. Well, thanks guys for showing up. Oh boy.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I don't want to save image as. I should have had to add in a rubber ducky.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man.
Morning refresh at the campsite.
Yep. This is peak AI. Like, there's no topping this at this point. Like,
so how much water was used in creating this image?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was probably more than 5 gallons.
Definitely more than 5 gallons,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how much ore was mined.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's the reference to "Please, William, may I have some more"? Is that like Oliver Twist?
I think that was kind of what I was going for. But William was supposed to be William. I forget his middle name. William Jevons.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned him later on,
right? And I'll try to summarize Jevons' paradox, which is not really a paradox because it's not really a. There's no like philosophical dilemma inherent in this. It's more an observation.
There's no Picard trying to create a temporal wormhole to go back to the beginning of Earth so he can be created. So mankind can one day be created. So that way he can.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, so Jevons' paradox essentially describes a sort of phenomenon where as technology makes things more efficient, you might expect total usage to go down because now we can use less of a thing. In Jevons' day, it was coal. Because it's now become more efficient, it therefore also becomes more accessible and adoption increases. So more people find more uses for that item, and more people also gain access to that because, falling prices, whatever, more, just greater efficiency in general.
Right.
So the thing that kind of helped me make this connection, just to give credit where credit is due, Hank Green had done a recent video on YouTube where he kind of discusses this and then also makes the same analogy to AI. And, I assume we'll kind of get into that throughout this episode.
Mm-hmm. But I can definitely, if you can find the link, I'll definitely throw it at the timestamp. Anyway, so, I mean, from what you're describing, it kind of seems like very similar to the Econ 101 supply and demand lines.
It's similar.
The more something becomes available, it comes down in price and becomes more available to be used.
Sure.
Because the supply is high, it's not scarce, so the price falls. And so then more people can buy it.
You could describe it that way. I mean, you and I have had this discussion, about, and I always hate simplifying it down to like an economic argument. I mean, ultimately, hot water is a human need, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we, especially in our modern society, like we need. I don't feel like I'm being hyperbolic. We need hot water.
Right.
Hot water kills disease. Hot water helps us stay clean and also hygienic. Like it is a human need. Now, then trying to extend that to AI might be a little bit of a stretch. I don't know that we could really say we have the same need for AI that we do for hot water or for coal and energy going back to the original Jevons paradox.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think the economic argument is valid. I'm going to use air quotes, valid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also been research that the more miles of highway you put down, the more cars are on the road.
Right.
And therefore it doesn't really decrease traffic jams.
Right. Yep.
That's kind of like the the same sort of analogy, but going the exact opposite of the direction.
Yeah. I mean, in that case, there's a real like. It's actually very similar, but it might be similar in a way that you might not expect, because even in the 1940s and 1950s, people were installing hot water heaters like left and right. But at this point, everyone has a hot water. There's no point in putting 2 hot water heaters in your home, right? Like we've essentially gotten to a saturation point where increases in efficiency are increasing adoption. Lower and lower income people now have access to hot water, but
Depends
it doesn't
on the size of the home. I mean, if your hot water heater is in the basement, like on the left side of the home, and your bedroom, your shower is on the top floor on the right side of the home, it's going to take a long time for that hot water to get there. So you might want to have a hot water heater a little closer. But
people are adding additional hot water heaters, and that you're right, that does happen. Like people have under like in sink hot water heaters now, but those I think are still more of a luxury item.
Yeah.
Not like having that first hot water heater is more a necessity than a luxury.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Right? And I think like traffic could be seen similarly in that you get to a kind of saturation point. Like initially traffic does decrease, but over time, which could be a matter of days, weeks, months, years, you do reach a saturation point where you've effectively increased congestion by increasing the number of roads or increasing capacity. Yeah.
So the other note I put on here, I guess this is sort of out of order, but if I remember right, I mean, I can't remember. Maybe that first trip, did have a hot water heater, like something to heat the water in the bucket. Was that right? Or did we just boil the
water? On our very first trip?
Yeah.
I mean, our very first trip was really basic. I think we just had like firewood, a tent, and sleeping bags.
Well, no, I mean like our first time doing the shower.
With the shower? I think, yeah.
He seemed to, if I remember right, he had like some sort of element to heat the water.
That's what I think I thought it was like a little propane stove.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
That's what I thought it was.
And when I wanted to make sure I had one on my own, because sometimes I don't camp with him.
Right.
I was like, I don't think I really need the hot water heater. I have a campfire.
Right. You can always boil water or
I
whatever.
can always boil water on the campfire.
Right. And to be honest, like, as I've been researching that more and more, like people were chastised and criticized for having hot water heaters in their home for that exact reason, because people would just boil water over a stove, over their literal stove, and use that as hot water throughout the day.
I seem to remember an episode of Happy Days where somebody had like a really bad stuffy nose or whatnot. And like Joni and Chachi were babysitting, if I remember right. And that some kid, and the kid was having trouble breathing, and so they wound up starting up the shower to get the steam going for kid to clear his nose basically and breathe better. I guess kind of like a nebulizer in a way.
Right. Humidifier.
Yeah, humidifier, nebulizer type thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's set in the 1950s.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you mentioned, 40s and 50s following World War II.
Yep.
Anyway, AI. So that's kind of a reference to II Captain, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to be honest, I didn't really have a reference in mind particularly.
It was kind of a sort of a pun type thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. It's page 2. I'm like flying through these.
I mean, you're going to have to ask me some tough questions, buddy.
Well, I do have like questions that are related to your essay.
Yeah, okay.
That aren't in the essay. So right now I'm still going through the essay. So what do you use AI for primarily?
Great question. So I started my business in 2020. When I started my business, I got an Office 365 membership. Office 365 at the time did not have Copilot included with that, but it does now. So I use Copilot almost exclusively. I don't use ChatGPT, even though they use the same underlying model. If I recall correctly, I don't use Gemini. I don't use the others.
Mhm.
I almost exclusively use Copilot. I use Copilot also in like VS Code to help me with coding.
Mhm.
But I use it in VS Code to help me with coding. There, it's pretty limited because it's like the capabilities are just not quite there, and I can explain that in a little bit. But I also, in Office 365, I use Copilot a lot just to help with like research and
Right.
things like that, which
Can
I
you
know
trust it?
I don't. I trust it a little bit. I mean, I suppose I've used it enough now that I do have some, there is some trust there. But I personally, I click on the links. So
Mhm.
I'll check sources, and there are
Yeah.
definitely some times where it's just wrong. I'm like, how did you synthesize this article and then arrive at whatever conclusion? Like that has absolutely happened where I've gone to double check, click on the link that it provided me, and
Mhm.
then found that it was just wrong or somehow arrived at the wrong conclusion.
Right.
But like it's mostly for like business. Like I still use Google occasionally, and it's mostly research. Yeah,
Is there an algorithm that biases results?
absolutely. I mean, like you could say that particular problem, and I know you kind of like brought that up in your essay too. Like my feeling is that problem has existed forever.
Mhm.
Like that's especially like you and I were both around when the internet first became like a thing.
I mean,
And
Netscape never die.
we can hope.
Well, it
Uh,
became Mozilla.
it
So,
did, yeah.
yeah.
Early on, it was very much a frontier, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
people just talking to people. Like you could just talk to just random people on the internet and have conversations, like good conversations, without much fear of being like harassed or canceled or whatever. But like pretty quickly, it became like strongly commercialized.
Yeah.
I think another really great analogy, honestly, to what I think will ultimately happen with AI, adoption of the internet just exploded. Everyone had to have a website. Every business, everybody had to have a website.
Right.
And a lot of people at that time went and got websites that did not need websites. At least, like now, yeah, you probably need to have a website to have any presence at all.
Mhm.
But like then, like your landscaper didn't need to have a website. Like
Yeah. And that's one thing that, I mean, this is an aside. That's one thing that kind of like I find amazing about a lot of podcasts.
mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't have their own website. They're just using the website of the platform that they're
Yes,
on.
right.
And for me, I feel that, I mean, one of the reasons why I went with WordPress is so I could be able to deliver more content, and be able to have a much more interactive type thing. You know?
Yeah.
It's
And
a lot easier to contact me if something's really bad about the
Right,
show
right.
that I need to address, or somebody wants to say, hey, I really like this topic, or how you approach this. You need more of this,
Yeah. And I completely
Yeah.
agree with you there. I think the real tragedy, and this is where we could really get into it. I think the real tragedy isn't so much what AI has done. It's because the thing where people were using, Apple Podcasts or Spotify as their platform,
Yeah.
like that's where they were going to host their content rather than having their own website.
Yeah.
Like that started occurring well before AI. It probably got easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
But that's the real tragedy is like people just gave up on trying to like bootstrap it themselves.
And I think, I need to reread my essay that I wrote after this. But my hunch is that maybe that's something that I need to expound on before we record it. But the loss of control.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
a loss of control with AI.
Yeah.
With Riverside, you know, in podcasts. There's so many podcasts use Riverside.
Yeah.
Me, I feel a loss of control when I am using Riverside.
Right.
You know, I want to be able to really edit stuff down, you know, try to get the air conditioning out as best I can.
Right.
And AI is, I mean, Riverside is mostly AI driven.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah.
I think it's been around for a while.
What's really interesting is like, I'm on various podcasting forums, you know, like on Facebook or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And lately the reviews on Riverside is the more stuff they stick in there, the more glitchy it's becoming.
Right.
So it's basically a mad scientist who's incredibly smart, but has no cohesion.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what scares me the most about AI is that, you know, we're developing this entity that's arguably within our lifetimes, if not the next 10 years, going to be bordering on consciousness. And
I don't know. I'm shrugging.
I know you're shrugging.
Maybe. I mean,
but I mean, we're basically in pursuit of Lieutenant Data.
Mm-hmm.
See, you nod with that one, even though I'm saying the same thing with it.
Well, I agree that we're in pursuit of that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that is, you know, like some researchers' wet dream is that eventually they'll be at that point.
Yes, Captain. Yes. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes, Captain. Yes. Affirmative.
Right. The sex bot of your dreams, I guess.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Candy AI. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm better than a girlfriend. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Horrible.
Like, I don't think it's going to happen in 50 years. Like, there's a long way to go. The reason there's a long way to go is that, like, the AI between the intelligence between your ears consumes like 1 watt or something. I can't remember what it's like, laughably small by comparison to the AI that we, you know, shove into data.
So what you're saying is that AI is still dim-witted and we are dim-wadded?
Oh, perfect. That's I should have titled my essay that. That's amazing. How do you come up with this stuff on the fly? I swear to God.
It's just a pun.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, and that's where I think, you know, and we're already starting to see this. Like, some of the contracts for AI centers, some of them have already been delayed. Like,
yeah. Indefinitely. Yeah. Delayed or postponed indefinitely. Some have just been outright canceled. A lot of that's from community pushback, though.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it is, but some of it was happening even before that.
Yeah.
I think we're also starting to see, like, some of the jobs that were lost. People pushed out because big tech firms thought they were going to be able to replace a ton of people with AI, only to realize they can't do it all with AI, and they ended up having to hire a bunch of people back.
Mm-hmm.
This is a much more recent anecdote, like just within the past couple of months. A lot of people were like bragging about how many fucking AI tokens they were using. Yeah. And then as soon as like ChatGPT or OpenAI and Anthropic started charging per token, now all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we need to, like, this is stupid, because they're getting charged, like, in some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars per month in AI tokens. And so,
Jesus.
Yeah, like that's a true, like, that's a real,
that's a true
thing.
Cost. So
yeah, I'll have to look up the link for you to put it on the.
So now thing. That's kind of pay to play. It's the market's going to self-correct and moderate it some.
I mean, I think it will, but I think there was also, like, and this is where I hate to just like try and simplify it that way, because there was a real, like, a literal group of people. This much is like anecdotal that I've heard through the grapevine, like a literal group of people in Silicon Valley who were talking about how many, like, AI tokens they were using. This was how you had bragging rights. They were like bragging about how many AI tokens they were using. That definitely, like, went against the conventional wisdom of economics. The demand would go down as the price went up. But these people were almost like they're fucking bragging about it to each other, about how much they're spending on this. And then, eventually the economics did catch up to them, but, like, not not at first. Like, this was almost like the goal was to spend a fuck ton of money. And then, whether you want to consider it economics or society, socioeconomics is correcting itself, I think. Like, that's
going into the economics, which you don't want to go into. But
I mean, I'll go into it. I just don't necessarily want to reduce it to that.
Right.
Yeah.
I once saw somebody, I forget his name. He's actually becoming he's rising in the podcasting world. He talks about guys a lot and basically the identity crisis of men.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things he said about AI was that China, as it stands right now, is looking to do what it did to U.S. Steel, which is overproduce the market, way oversupply the market. So even though you're operating at a loss, you have the resources and you have the means. So you will wind up dropping the price of it so much that it's going to be not profitable for American AI companies to sustain themselves. And then you can raise the prices once the competition is gone. You've seen this before in airlines. We used to have 10 million airlines. Why not? Because we've gone through several price wars doing this. And then
I'll agree with you, but I'll also just to give you this perspective, again, this is so much of this is still very recent. Like, Google just released their Gemini 4 model under an open source license.
Right.
And they specifically tailored it so that you could run it on your laptop. Like, you would still have to have at least 64 gigabytes of memory to run it, but you could run it and get reasonable performance on your laptop, no data center required. And a lot of that is because some of the early models had to, when you look at some of the numbers of parameters they have to keep in memory, the early models had they were bragging about 200 billion parameter models. And now you can achieve the same performance as GPT-3 with or GPT-4 even with Gemini, which is only a 70 billion parameter model. So it's as they continue to refine the training of some of the models, it becomes more and more possible for you to just run it on commodity hardware and be able to get reasonable performance without having to use a cloud AI at all.
Yeah.
Which I think, is another benefit of open source. And we talked about control, being able to have control over those things is a huge deal. It has been a huge deal since Napster.
Yeah.
That was the whole fucking reason why Napster took off, was because
that and people didn't want to pay for their culture. And which
they want to be able to participate.
Definitely an episode I should definitely do down the road.
Yeah.
Because these things are important.
They are hugely important.
And nobody wants to pay for that.
Right.
They only want the starving artist. They don't want an artist who's well off.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And it's a shame.
Which is a shame.
You get, a band that has been struggling, gets a great cult following, and then they get a hit album and they're like, oh, they sold out.
Right.
As if they committed a crime by putting food on the table.
Right.
I mean, it's just horrible, you know? Yeah. Anyway, that's definitely another essay down the road.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is a good one. You say, the thing is, I think he's right.
Yep, I do.
I win.
Fuck. Why did I admit that?
Essay over. I win.
No, and we kind of discussed this a little bit before we went on air about how there's room enough for two people to be right at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And
I think too many times, not strictly you and I, but people in general try to agree by disagreeing. No, you're wrong, and I'm going to give you this reason, but it's really just the same reason as the one that the other guy just gave, just worded differently.
I think there's actually a Star Trek episode. I'm going to have to research this. This just came in my head, so I'm not really prepared for the reference. I'll have to look it up. But where Kirk, there's a debate between Spock and McCoy.
Uh-huh.
And a typical, all Star Trek debates between these two usually come out Spock talking about, the technology or the advantages.
Right.
And McCoy always takes the human element of it and, always warns against it. And Kirk decides risk is our business. They're both right, but risk is our business. We are on a starship. I'll have to find that scene and link to it. But
I like the I think it's similar in spirit was Spock from the Undiscovered Country when he's talking to I can't remember the other Vulcan's name right now.
Sarek? Like his dad?
No, it was the other woman on the ship for that one movie. I can't remember her name.
Oh, Savick.
Savick.
Once placed by Kirstie Alley, but then she got the role in Cheers, so she couldn't come back for that role.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. But Savick goes to Spock's room, Spock's quarters, and they're having a discussion, and she says, "Surely logic," and Spock cuts her off and says, "Logic, logic, logic. Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end."
That was an Undiscovered Country, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Didn't I say that?
No.
What did I say?
You said like in Star Trek 4, and it wasn't to Kirstie Alley's character Savick.
No.
It was to Kim Cattrall's character.
Oh.
Who wound up being also half Romulan, if I remember right.
Oh.
But
I don't remember. Okay.
But yes.
Well, all right. I still maintain I said the Undiscovered Country.
Nerd card revoked. You remembered all this just a couple episodes ago. I don't know what happened. I mean, obviously that image that I showed you has like zapped a few brain cells.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. I'm still taken aback by my bare-chested.
Your bare-chested happy trail.
Right. Yeah. No, and I love that quote from the Undiscovered Country. It's definitely one that I remember often over the years.
Yeah, so I don't know where I jumped from that, but okay, so social media mental health. Let's take a step out of the realm of AI for a split sec and then work ourselves in with this question. So social media mental health. The United States officially, you have to be 13 to get a Facebook. You got to be 13 to get Instagram.
Yep.
Not enforced whatsoever.
No, not really, no.
Australia, you have to be 18.
Mm-hmm.
Because they realize the social media impact on mental health and how basically social media to the young is like as bad, if not worse, than cigarettes, and the tobacco industry lied about it, even though they knew about it.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg's been lying about it, even though he's known about it. Should AI have Australian style safeguards?
I'm going to have to dwell on that. My initial thought is to say yes. And the reason the reason I say that is for the same reason that I think you shouldn't, like a 13-year-old shouldn't be able to have, or a 12-year-old shouldn't be able to have their own social media account.
Yeah.
Or the reason that I think parental controls are still important for moderating content that your children can see when searching on Google or whatever. I guess all of that to say that, like, I agree. I don't know that it's like exclusive to AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know that AI should have special rules. I think I think those rules should exist for all of that content. Does that
right?
But I really am curious. Like, do you have an opinion? Like, what are your thoughts?
It was a question that I come up with, just like reading your essay and listening to you. Like the first set of questions that I did before this were written down as I was reading your essay before you read it.
Yeah.
And then these, because your brain processes differently reading than listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote down after you had finished reading it, and I was like digesting it.
Right.
So this like the first question that was dealing a little bit more with synthesis and application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas before these questions were straight out of your essay. So
can I assume though that you would agree that you think AI should have age limits or age restrictions?
When I wrote the question, let's put it this way. At the point of should, I didn't have an opinion. But by the time I got to guards and safeguards, my wheels were turning that maybe there should be, but the question then becomes how? How would something like this occur? Because AI is
right.
It's like a disease, man. It's everywhere. It's a virus,
Well, and
it's like trying to eradicate the common cold.
Right. Well, and that's kind of why I started out taking a little bit of a longer view, because AI has been around for many decades now. And in many ways, AI has been influencing our behavior since well before ChatGPT. And, the data that Google and Apple and Facebook, everyone has had on you since basically, 2004, 2005, when smartphones really exploded and became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has been being put through artificial intelligence since then. Like artificial intelligence has played a role in your life, whether you knew it or not. It's only really just now you see it. Like now you.
Well, now we have the public has a direct interface.
Right.
And maybe that's what really needs to be regulated is the direct interface. But at that point, I know.
Yeah, this is why
people will try to go around it. Like, okay, we'll do an indirect interface. I'm
Sure.
not talking to AI. I'm talking to this other program. The algorithm's feeding it in, and I'm getting it back.
Yeah, and that's what I really think is going to be the future. Is because chat is kind of it's horribly it's a novelty to me. Like it's good to help me when I'm researching something.
You mean there isn't a good purpose for your pecs, man?
Oh man. Well, of course. But again, that was peak AI. Now it's like I said, it's all downhill from here. No, but it's like this is why computers weren't networked together on the Galactica. Do
you know what the beauty of that photo is?
What is it? I know what the beauty was.
It's going out in the newsletter.
I can't wait for my mother to see this. Oh boy.
You might become the sex symbol of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I'm not already.
You probably are. Girls love tattoos.
Some, yeah. Going back a little bit to your suggestion, I think eventually AI will essentially take a back seat. It will return to its original role as being there behind the scenes and less present in your face.
Mm-hmm.
I do sincerely hope that we can improve and develop better models for mental health, because I actually do think there is some positive to be gained from people being able to talk about their issues. Some people really do have problems talking to a human therapist, but
right.
If we can get people talking, I think that's a win. And similarly, I don't know. This is definitely pie in the sky hope, but we've talked a little bit on previous episodes about the male experience and how there's a real what do you want to call it? Decline.
Yeah. Don't worry though. I mean, Hegseth's on top of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
Low T.
Right. Yeah. With the low T. Oh, fuck
now we can finally win the Iran war because we're going to be giving our soldiers testosterone.
Yeah. Whatever.
But
I hope maybe AI could play a role in helping men be better, to socialize, learn how to socialize better,
Yeah.
not be like creepy, harassing or whatever. I don't know. Again, this is pie in the sky hope, but
yeah, I think it's just going to go completely the opposite. I mean,
I know.
Things like, I've already brought up Candy AI.
Yeah.
It's hard enough already for guys to meet women and be able to talk to women.
Right.
If their model to do that is a freaking computer, they're not going to really be able to ask the questions to find out what's important to the woman and be able to develop a relationship based on mutual interests and trust. Right. And the real kicker is vulnerability. Mm-hmm. You need to have mutual vulnerabilities.
Right.
You need to be
right.
I once heard that marriage is you take your best weapons and give them to your spouse. It's mutual surrender.
Yeah.
You can't
I
really.
think that's nice. That. That's not a bad way to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't, because your spouse knows how to hurt you.
Right.
I'm married to mine for 20 years.
Right.
She can take me down.
Yeah.
She knows my weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I know hers. But the question is, can you trust this person not to do that?
Right.
I told
be considerate and have your best interests in mind. And
I told my kid, I was like, do not get engaged until you've had a serious fight.
Yeah. I have the same sentiment. I haven't.
You need to know how they fight. Whether they'll treat you fair when things get hard.
Right. And also
it's whether not you can. With AI.
Right. Yeah. Whether you can recover faithfully and, try to grow from the experience rather than, feel like you've been torn down. And even Data got laid, but did he really, did he really grow from the experience until he got the emotion chip? Did he really grow from the experience? This is the question you want answered?
Well, it's ones and zeros, man.
I know.
Although I would assume a positronic brain would have quantum computing, so he probably has more than ones and zeros at that point.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think AI will ultimately be a net negative, at least for some time, before it becomes a net positive. And I hope that there isn't so much net negative that we can't recover to find that positive later on.
I feel we're at a crossroads.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
Are we going to go to the Star Trek Next Generation AI world, or are we going to go to the Terminator AI world?
I don't know. I don't know if I would draw that distinction, but I do think we're at a crossroads. I think, and I actually have a question for you that I'll ask later, but I personally think the her AI world is probably more accurate. And
what do you mean by that?
Okay, so I know you haven't seen it, so I'll give the spoiler.
No, I haven't.
So the spoiler is,
I think this was a movie I wanted to see, but I never did.
Yeah, it's still worth a watch. It was,
and by the way, her is an absolutely awesome guitarist. Can put every male guitarist I've seen to shame. But anyway, go on.
So we're talking about the movie, though, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the movie, but I'll just aside for the artist.
Yeah, fair enough. So in this not distant future, Joaquin Phoenix's character decides he's going to upgrade his AI thing. And
so he can finally defeat the gladiator. Got it.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Russell Crowe. Yeah. So he, and it's in the form of this
earpiece.
Yeah, earpiece thing that he puts in his ear.
The worm from Wrath of Khan.
Khan.
So they get brainwashed. Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. So he puts it in this ear, and they develop this affection and eventual love for each other. Like Joaquin,
the only Starfleet officer that Khan killed was black. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. That's what makes him evil, though. I don't know where I'm going with this, but whatever. So, but eventually, Scarlett Johansson's character, which is the AI, she grows beyond what Joaquin Phoenix's character can offer her, and she leaves him to go off with some other AI in the end.
So, in the end, you're the Battlestar Galactica theory of AI.
Probably, yeah. I think that's probably closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That series.
Are we talking about like the merging
more
of like man and machine, or are we talking just like there's so much
There's
that
so
show.
much in that show. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking. Well, when I said it, I was thinking more lines of how the Cylons left humanity there for a bit. After the first Cylon War, they decided to leave humanity.
Right.
Then they realized that.
Man, we are such fucking nerds.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
we're
are.
running the gamut
but
with
the
this
thing
episode.
is it's outside science fiction.
Yeah. What do we?
Is there a genre that actually deals with the future?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Or how issues really affect us?
The impact of technology in society.
I mean, science fiction's thrown down the gauntlet, and they've been able to write things off and get away with stuff that no other genre could. Like during in Battlestar Galactica, the occupation of Caprica, the good guys were using suicide bombers. There was an insurrection. This was going on during the Iraq War.
Right, yeah.
And the reason why they were able to get away with it is because they were science fiction. So you could look on the other side. You can have the heroes be the terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
You could not do that any other genre.
Yeah, certainly not at that time.
Yeah. And I don't think probably even now. But because of science fiction, you get to think in ways, you're allowed to think in ways, you have license to think in ways that you wouldn't normally before.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I mean, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Battlestar Galactica, Stargate. You watch those, you'll have a good moral base.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked for me. Worked for you.
Totally, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking further, like out on the horizon, though, like there have been predictions that there will be a population collapse for a long time.
Yeah.
Like for many decades now. It was predicted. So I like somebody's going to have to do that work. How are we just as a species going to survive, when or if the, population actually collapses? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
So my next, in-depth part is AI in education.
Okay.
And I think this kind of, in terms of direct interface, I think this definitely goes in with Australian rules. But I remember growing up, we had to work out the algebra by hand because we would not have a calculator in our pocket at all times.
Right.
And we have a calculator in our pocket. It's called a cell phone.
Right.
Now. And so like a lot of people are like not wanting to do algebra or whatever. And now it's the same sort of thing in terms of, why should I learn how to do programming? I can have AI do the programming.
Right.
And there's a science fiction episode in Star Trek where they run into a race of people who can't fix their own ship.
Right. Yeah. And you know what else is interesting though? Like, because maybe I'm making an assumption here, but I feel like I can kind of see where you're going. But for example, there was a scientific journal recently that announced they'll allow you to submit your paper with AI research in it. But if it's peer reviewed and found to be wrong, then you get a 1-year ban from being able to submit anything to that journal. So
therefore you have to check the sources and do the research anyway.
Right. And there were some like open source projects. I think the Linux Foundation is now one of them where, they have a similar thing. Like if you submit something generated by AI that, ends up having like some serious bug in it, like they'll ban you. Like which I think is the way it should be. Like people need to be able to check their, whatever they're submitting. They need to take ownership of that.
Yeah.
That was something else with my own employees. You can use AI to help with your own development, but you are taking responsibility. If you submit something that you generate, I'm assuming it's like you're taking responsibility for whatever you submit. I don't care how you generated it, but you're taking responsibility for it. And if it's wrong, like that's on you. Like that's, I don't know.
Yeah. Dead internet theory.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing that's existed for a long time. Like the
Right.
dead internet theory existed well before AI, and it's probably pretty close to true now.
Right. So refresh us on what dead internet theory is.
So the dead internet theory is a theory that most of the traffic and most of the content generated that you interact with on the internet is now generated strictly by AI or bots. Probably 5 or 6 years ago it was bots, but now we use the term AI. This was actually one of the ways Elon Musk tried to get out of buying Twitter, because he was making the claim that most of the content on Twitter was just AI or bots.
Mm-hmm.
His theory was that it was like 90%.
Yeah.
And at least according to Twitter's internal data, it was like closer to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Who's right or who's wrong? I don't know. It's not like this was like published research, but yeah, like, so the dead internet theory is the theory that most, if not all, of the content that you see on the internet is generated by AI or some bot.
Right. So how would then this affect research and new ideas? Because if you're always standing on the shoulders of giants,
mm-hmm.
how are you going to advance if you're dealing with dead internet?
So this is really interesting, and I feel like I have a unique perspective as a someone with a mathematical background. Right? Yeah.
3.
You're probably you're probably not familiar with Erdős. I'm like
Erdős?
I'm so upset that I've forgotten his first name. Erdős. He was a famous mathematician. He worked with so many other famous mathematicians. He was a sort of muse in the field.
Mm-hmm.
He had a number of different theories and proofs that he did himself, but a lot of the people that he worked with ended up becoming famous because they worked with him. Like, he just inspired people to learn and grow. And he died somewhat recently, and he has a number of, they're called Erdős problems, mm-hmm. that have been published. And different people have started to to apply AI tools to actually solving some of these problems. The first few were actually problems that already had solutions. They had already been proved. They were just reproved in a different way with AI. But there are actually now a small number, like 2 or 3, that have been proved strictly by AI.
Right.
And submitted to journals, peer-reviewed, checked, and check out. But it's difficult to say whether these things would never have been proved without AI.
Right.
And it's the opinion, and I share this opinion, but like the opinion of many is that like we just didn't have enough people to throw at the problem. Like, right. There's so many unsolved math problems that it's trying to get to all of them is like impossible. But what I think is very telling is that of the Millennium Prize problems, which I spoke of on, I think it was my first episode of this season, Politicking Mathematics,
mm-hmm.
like the Riemann hypothesis is one of the Millennium problems. It has $1 million prize. Still has not been proven by AI. Like, it will require some human intelligence to solve.
And a Dyson sphere.
But like, so, like to your original question, like, I think the big question is not whether people will still be needed to help push these, to advance the knowledge, advance like society forward. I think the real threat to me, and I think you might agree, is that will we become too lazy before we become curious enough to solve it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I feel like if this winds up being a generational thing, we're lazy for a generation or two before we wind up becoming curious to solve it. For a large part, I feel like we're going to be starting over again in terms of how.
Maybe.
I mean, we're going to have to instead you know, using another movie reference, Rocky and fighting Drago in Rocky 4. Drago was training with the latest technologies. He was getting injected steroids. He was like getting measured, getting all the like all of his energy and exercises were quantified. He was getting all the data points.
Right.
You can imagine. Rocky's out there chopping wood.
Right.
He's like going for runs like in deep snow. He's like totally anti-technology way through. And so to a certain extent, I mean, even though I don't think it was the point of the film, because it was definitely a Cold War, we are American, USA type film. I find it interesting that they took that approach and wound up, having the back to basics, very human approach versus very technological approach.
Right.
And then you have the two prize fighters meet, and of course Rocky wins.
Right.
Because, he's wearing Apollo's trunks, which is an American flag. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, and we'll get into this more, I think, obviously, in
the next essay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of these questions, especially here, like in the second half, are very applicable to the essay that I've written.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll save my comment for that episode, actually. So
no, I have like two questions.
To be continued.
Yeah, I mean, I have like two questions that I still want to ask, but I think I'm going to have you ask them or me ask them in the next episode because we're already way over on time.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we're at an hour 7 on the interview alone.
Okay.
So, well, with your thing, we're probably around, an hour 17. I try to keep these episodes around an hour.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But yeah, I have two questions, and I'm going to say them now to keep ourselves accountable for them.
Okay.
And obviously, don't answer them, but what's AI's impact on the political environment with AI ads that can be difficult, if not impossible, to discern as fake in the future?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's our AI's impact on our discernment
about
fact versus
great
fiction?
Question. I have. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm gonna save it. Ooh, man, that's a juicy one.
And the other one is actually, this is for this episode.
Okay.
Prove to the listener that you aren't AI generated.
Prove to the listener that I'm not AI generated. Well, I'm holding up 3 fingers in front of my face. Wasn't that like a thing? Like for a hot minute? Like
probably.
Yeah. I feel like I saw somewhere that people were asking, like in on like Zoom calls or whatever, they're like, hold 3 fingers up in front of your face, because apparently AI at the time, which, I say at the time was probably like a year ago.
No, it's because of, people like me who pre-record themselves and then set it as the background video, then walk away.
I think it was partly that, but I also think it was like, like for a long time, AI could not like accurately like represent hands in images.
Still don't.
It still struggles a lot of the time.
And if you aren't looking for it, you can easily miss that. And
exactly.
That bought me earlier in the year with the Peretti shooting. Oh man, I got owned so bad.
Really?
Because of that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I posted something on Facebook, where from a different angle where it looks like Peretti's just being flat out executed, but the second cop's head was missing in the shot. But you're so focused on the action of the gun and the other cop and Peretti on the ground that you don't even notice it, because where his head's at is like in a big shadow.
Right.
Or his head should be is like in a big shadow. So
it's like easy to kind of glance over.
To glance over, or I remember having certain cell phones where if the light contrast is too bad, then weird crap like that happened.
Yeah. So
I kind of had written it off, but no, it was completely AI generated, and I should have caught it, and I didn't, and I ate crow. So
yeah.
But things like that's going to be even harder, and I wasn't the only one. Public had that photograph on the screen.
Yeah.
And one of the things that made me take pause with them is I don't think they issued a retraction on air.
Yeah.
So
that's a cardinal sin.
It's a cardinal sin for me. And so, that's one of the things that made me think, maybe I should be watching more CNN than MSNBC, because they were still MSNBC at the time. They hadn't switched over at MS
MS
Now.
Now. Ugh.
And I don't know if MS Now has different journalistic standards than MSNBC had or what, but
So here's my well, we'll talk about this over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, great discussion.
To be continued.
Part 2
Yes.
coming in 2 weeks. You guys, and by all means,
Yeah.
your
please.
life will change when you see the photo.
It's already changed my life.
Oh, if you're real.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll never know.
I told you it was a photo. Maybe I'm not real. But all right, guys. So yes, please interact with this. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Come to our website, www.theascendantproject.com. And reach out to us. We want to have a conversation with you. Conversation continues with you.
And please send follow-up questions. I would love to answer more.
Yes, follow-up questions would be great.
Yeah.
We could do an episode of follow-up questions if we get enough of follow-up questions in. We could do a segment, But and perhaps one day we could do a subscribers only type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Please come to the website. Please like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever. Interact with us. And we look forward to hearing from you all and talking at you guys again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yep. Have a good day. You have been listening to The Ascendant Project. The Ascendant Project is a production of Monocacy Audio, LLC. Any information expressed in this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for expert information. We are human and ordinary people, and as a result, what is presented as fact may be in error. Monocacy Audio, LLC and this podcast hold no liability from events or damages that result from listening to or reading this podcast or its associated materials. All articles, interviews, and sound files are copyright Monocacy Audio, LLC, with all rights reserved, except our awesome theme music is by Alexei Chitalin. His music can be found on pixabay.com as well as Spotify underneath the pseudonym Lexin Music. Thank you for listening and have a great day.